Takasugi Shinsaku. Takasugi Shinsaku was born in Hagi, the capital of the Chashu domain, as the eldest son of Takasugi Kochuta, a middle-rank samurai. He had 3 younger sisters and had smallpox at the age of 10 but recovered. He joined Yoshida Shoin's private school and focused on modernizing Chashu's military. When Yoshida was arrested and later executed, Takasugi returned home. He married Inoue Masa in 1860, but in 1861, he left home for naval training and further studies in the Tohoku region, where he associated with Sakuma Shozen and Yokoi Shonen. Despite his young age, Takasugi was a significant figure in Chashu and strongly advocated a policy of isolation and expelling foreigners from Japan. In 1862, he was secretly sent to Shanghai to assess Western powers' strength, coinciding with the Taiping Rebellion. Witnessing the impact of European imperialism in China, he returned to Japan convinced that Japan needed to strengthen itself to avoid colonization. This aligned with the growing Sano-Joi movement, and Takasugi's ideas found support in Chashu and other parts of Japan. He was also implicated in the attack on the British legation in Edo in January 1863. Takasugi introduced the innovative concept of auxiliary irregular militia shotai during the feudal era, challenging the traditional samurai-only ownership of weapons. He advocated for recruiting commoners into these mixed social paramilitary units, including farmers, merchants, carpenters, sumo wrestlers, and Buddhist priests. This approach allowed Chashu to tap into the financial resources of the middle class while maintaining the traditional social structure. In 1863, Takasugi personally established the Kihaitai, a special shotai unit with both samurai and commoner members. Additionally, during a period of hiding from assassins, he became involved with a geisha named Oono at a brothel in Shimonoseki. In 1863, after Chashu fired upon Western warships in the Straits of Shimonoseki, foreign naval forces from Britain, France, the Netherlands, and the United States bombarded Shimonoseki. Takasugi was tasked with defending Shimonoseki during this conflict. However, an anti-Chashu coup in Kyoto in August 1863 threatened Chashu's political standing, leading to Chashu's removal from power by a coalition of the Satsuma and Eizu clans in the imperial court. Takasugi faced further challenges, including the Kaihoji incident in August 1863, where he narrowly avoided seppuku but was dismissed as the leader of the Kihaitai, a unit he had formed just 2 months earlier. In 1864, he left Chashu to hide in Kyoto but later returned and was briefly imprisoned for leaving the domain. He was eventually released but ordered to remain confined at home. In September 1864, Western naval forces from Britain, France, the Netherlands, and the United States attacked Shimonoseki again and occupied the gun battery there. They demonstrated the superiority of Western military technology and tactics over traditional Japanese troops, leading Chashu leaders to realize the urgent need for military reform. As a result, they turned to Takasugi for help, forgiving him for past actions, and appointed him as the director of military affairs. At just 25 years old, he was also entrusted with negotiating peace with the Western powers. Takasugi recognized that direct confrontation with Western powers was not feasible, so he focused on learning from the West. He reorganized his Kihaitai militia into a modern rifle unit, introduced Western training methods and strategies, and promoted a more conciliatory approach toward the West. This shift transformed the Sano-Joi movement, originally aimed at expelling foreigners and revering the emperor, into an anti-Bakufu movement, viewing the overthrow of the Tokugawa Bakufu as necessary to strengthen Japan against foreign threats. After the Western powers' punitive attack, Choshu faced a Bakufu expedition in 1864 due to previous Choshu attempts to control Kyoto. Initially, conservative forces within Choshu favored reconciliation with the Bakufu, leading Takasugi and his allies, including future leaders like Yamagata Aratamo, Ito Hirobumi, and Inoue Keiru, to leave the domain to avoid imprisonment. They regrouped in Kakura, Kyushu, and prepared to challenge the conservatives in Choshu, leading to the Choshu Civil War in January 1865. Takasugi played a crucial role in this conflict, and his Kihaitai militia, with its modern tactics, proved superior to traditional samurai forces. By March 1865, Takasugi and his forces emerged victorious, and he became a key figure in Choshu's politics, focusing on Western military science, importing weapons, and raising troops. Choshu's successful military reforms and victories against the Bakufu forces in June 1866, including those led by the Kihaitai, discredited the Bakufu's military power. This, in turn, prompted other domains to ally with Choshu in the battles that ultimately led to the downfall of the Tokugawa Bakufu and the start of the Meiji Restoration in 1868. Takasugi's efforts transformed Choshu into a potent military force that played a significant role in these historical events. Takasugi Shinsaku's health deteriorated due to tuberculosis in October 1866. He was moved to the residence of Hayashi Sankoro, where he was cared for by his mistress Ouno and Buddhist nun Nomura Bodo. In February 1867, his wife Masa and their young son Toichi visited him. Ouno, out of respect for his wife and to protect Takasugi's reputation, became a Buddhist nun named Tani Baisho but was later summoned back by Masa to care for him. However, Takasugi's health worsened again in March 1867, leading Masa and Toichi to return to Hagi, while Baisho and Nomura stayed with him until his death on May 17, 1867. Takasugi was buried near the Kihaitai's camp at Mt. Kayamizu in Yoshida according to his will. A year later, his dream of overthrowing the Tokugawa shogunate was realized with the Meiji Restoration. Yamagata Aratamo later gave Takasugi's former mistress, Baisho, a thatched hut named Muranen near Mt. Kayamizu to live in and tend to his grave before leaving for Europe in 1869. Kido Takayoshi and his wife Matsuko took Takasugi's young son Toichi under their care in 1871. In 1884, Takasugi's friends and comrades, including Yamagata Aratamo, Yamada Akiyoshi, Ito Hirobumi, and Inoue Keiru, raised funds to build a hermitage called Togyoin near his gravesite. Tani Baisho stayed there and looked after his grave until her death in 1909. The grave itself was designated a National Historic Monument in 1934. Takasugi Shinsaku, a key figure in the early Meiji Restoration, is renowned for both his military prowess and political acumen. Despite passing away at the young age of 28, he did not attain the level of fame that some of his contemporaries did during the Meiji era. In his hometown of Hagi in Yamaguchi, southwestern Japan, he is still revered as an enigmatic and dynamic hero who wholeheartedly dedicated himself to advancing modernization, westernization, and reforms, encompassing not only the military but also political and social aspects. Thank you for watching.